What I'm going to show you now is how to set a customer up for dinner and to be served dinner. You always want to make sure that you have their settings out before you hand them their huge menu, because trying to get this around this is a pain in the butt. And what you're going to do is you do want to have Parmesans and crushed red pepper available for the customers for when they do get their meal. They can dress their food up however they want. If they want a little spicy, get their crushed red pepper, but everybody likes Parmesan with their Italian food as well. And then you fill these up, and you will also find your Parmesan and your crushed red pepper in your fridge behind your bar. Always make sure you do keep them stocked, because as well, you do want them full. Okay, and you also always want to make sure that you polish all of your silverware at all times, because you do want it to look pretty shiny when you do give it to the customer. You will get it out of a dish, and if you do want to, you can always rerun it in our dishwasher that is located behind the bar, and then repolish it. Make sure you fill it up to where you're not running around through your shift looking for forks, butter knives, or pasta spoons, or steak knives. You all want to make sure you have all of this at all times. These are your settings that you are going to give to the customers when they do sit down to eat at all times. Always make sure your seams are in when you do fold them. You will have your white napkins, and then you will have your black napkins that the customer actually does use to actually wipe up their mess if they do make a mess. And then you always want to fold it in half, fold it again, flip it over. All your seams are going to be in at all times, and then fold it in half. And then you always keep it to the left side of the place setting when you give it to the customer. And when you do your folds, you do want them to look like this, but to stack them where we do keep them located behind the bar, we usually keep them together so it's easier to give to the customer. When you do set the customer up, it's just a quick open up and they're ready to go. And you do always keep your folds stacked down here. You do want to have at least 3 rows of these, and they should be stacked all the way to the top. So you will have enough throughout the night. And if you do have extra time, you can actually double it up and fill this whole thing up for the week. Okay, you do always want to make sure you have all of your menus at easy access, all of your wine lists, because you do want to upsell any of your liquors and all of our signature drinks. We do print out special sheets every night that do change, so you always want to check with your manager on duty to find out if the specials are the same or not. And then we do also run other weekly specials on Thursday and Wednesday, and you always want to make sure those are always the same. Make sure you have your dessert menus stocked. Make sure you have your early bird special menu stocked, which is part of our happy hour. And then any other promotions that you have going on at the bar, you also do want to make sure those are up to date as well. And also your checkbooks, you always want to keep behind your register so they're always at easy access. Extra register tape as well. This is how the napkin presentation should look in front of a customer. And then you also get your silverware, make sure they are clean. You put your knives and your spoons. And if they are eating a steak or a pork chop or anything, you do want to make sure you always give them a steak knife, because they can't really eat it or cut it with the bread knife. And then that is your presentation. And you also always want to make sure you do put your cheese and your crushed red pepper out for a customer, regardless what they are eating, because everybody loves these condiments with any food that they eat. And your salt and pepper. This is how, before they get their food, everything right here should be in front of them. If they do order focaccia or any kind of bread, you do want to also offer a small plate like this, and you do want to put our 2 house-made olive oils on that, which is a red pepper olive oil, and then we do have a garlic olive oil. You have your 2 olive oils that you should always put on the plate for the customer. Both of them side by side so they can kind of see the difference in it. You have your red pepper, and then you have your garlic. And always ask if the customer wants balsamic as well. You don't want to overdo it with the balsamic, because it is very potent and it will take over the other flavors in the olive oil. And if you want to also give them Parmesan, you can put the Parmesan on the plate for them. Some customers like to do the Parmesan and their crushed red pepper themselves. And you should always give this with all bread and focaccia bread. And on your napkin settings, you always do want to make sure that this seam right here is facing the customer, and the seam of the actual napkin that they will be using with dinner is facing you at all times. And all your folds should always have the seams in.